Ha! It's a Monday. It's a Monday. Is anybody prepared for a Monday? Anybody prepared for a Monday? Anybody thinking about Monday? Who's thinking it's their birthday? I don't know. I don't know what day it is today. Let's see. It is August 5, 2019 million bajillion 200,000 million 19. What's up, guys? How you doing? Good to be here on a Monday. Let's see who's in the chat. I see Bentley Pascal. He's not a member anymore. His name's not green. Telescope Aquatics is here. Mr. B's Fish and Things. What is up? Let's see. Daryl Deemer is here. What's going on? Deborah Sanders, Caroline Epler, Alyssa Bentley is here. Big D Smoke is here. Alex Mitchell, New Mexico Aquatics, John Gonzalez, Nathaniel M. First to the chat today was Danny's Aquariums. What's up? I think he's coming all the way from Canada. What's up? I see Jim Smith, Jake D, Big D Smoke. What's up? And I think that's everybody so far. Sunwise, Chad Krotz, UG Aquatics. Oh, there's a whole bunch of people showing up. Oh, Caroline Epler. Okay. Oh, now the chat's going fast. Okay, cool. I see. Oh, there's Candy and Jessica. All right, I gotta figure out here for a second. Jessica Thiergartner. I think I got it right. Jessica Thiergartner. I think I got it right today. Did I get it right today? Who knows? But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Look at this right here. I don't know what this is right here. But I had some kind of bump on my face. And I shaved it off. And now it's like a bloody wound. I went with the shaving. And then it would cut and just bleeding. I don't know. Super weird. But that's the elephant in the room right here. It's my beauty mark for, it'll be my beauty mark for this week, guys. Check it out. It feels good, but it does feel good to have taken a shower. I'll tell you that much. Oh, Danny's in the Netherlands. Oh, man. Well, shout out to Danny because there may or may not be some very timely Netherlands news today on the show. So stick with me here, folks. Stick with me for a minute. And we'll talk about that. But I was saying that it was so nice to have taken a shower because I spent all weekend on daddy duty. Let me see if I can't find my arrow here. Where's it pointing today? Oh, it's tiny. Oh, we have tiny micro arrow. Hold on. We shall enlarge the micro arrow into a gigantic arrow. How big can we make it? Oh, my gosh. We can make it as big as we like. Oh, but it's difficult to change the direction. I have to go into this thing and, make it do weird stuff in order for it to change the direction. Oh, we can rotate slowly. Slowly rotate the arrow. Nice. All right. Let's make it go on the Z-axis. There we go. Yeah. Make it point right over there at Olivia because I was doing dad duty this weekend. All the live long day while Vicky had to work. Vicky had to work all weekend. And, she had to work all weekend. She had to work Saturday all day. She had to work Sunday all day. So I was here on daddy duty. And, one of the fun things about having she's an infant. She'll be 9 months here in a couple of days. She's about 9 months. I don't know how this math works. We're supposed to say weeks or something, But she'll be almost 9 months here shortly. Still an infant, still a little baby. So, boy, howdy, I tell you, it's like naps. And you got to get the breast milk and warm that up. And then we got to figure out what kind of snack she's got to have. Is it going to be fruit? Is it going to be protein? Is it going to be a this? Is it... oh no, I got a diaper, I got a thing, I got a oh now, and here's the thing, I gotta tell you guys. I think Vicky Toria and myself, we both knew. I think that we both knew that we were going to have a hyperactive baby. Let's just be straightforward here. Both of us were wild children. Okay, so we assumed that we were both going to have a wild child, and it's funny to have a thought, and be like, oh, I can recognize the fact that this thing is going to be a blah, 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 right? But then you just actually experience it, and you start to realize, like, oh, I don't know how my mom survived, because Olivia can crawl, Olivia can climb, and Olivia can walk almost unassisted at this point. So what she does is she stands up and she grabs onto stuff and then she walks. So she'll like circumnavigate the whole room in like 2 minutes, and then the next thing you know, she's like, oh, I got to get over there to grab onto that thing. So then she will only crawl in order to get to a spot so she can like lift herself up. It is, I don't know. I was talking to some other parents, and by the way, we have our sitter that comes. She brings her son with her, who is basically exactly the same age. Her son is like the exact same age, and I tell you what, man, like her son is just like content to just kind of hang out. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sit over here. He'll like crawl around a little bit, and I'm gonna move around. And I'm like, so it's a little bit of a like, why does her son just chilling? And my baby is like over there. She's under the thing. She's crawling under there. She's throwing a thing. I don't know, but that's just kind of reality. But I was doing dad duty all weekend, and I love daddy duty. It's all good. It's all good. But there's the somebody had posted something. I saw this the other day, and it was just great. And I should have saved it, but it's terrible. I didn't. I could have popped it up here on the screen. But it was a good little quote from somebody who was talking about, just kind of the capitalist society in 2000 whatever, and sort of paraphrasing. It was way better written than what I'm talking about right now. But it just, like, you end up feeling bad because you're not doing work, It's like, wait, I'm not being productive. I'm not. What am I doing? I gotta do something. I gotta go over there. Oh man, I got to work on the office. I got to move stuff around. And as you guys can see, I still haven't moved the furniture around down here, which, I'm kind of foolish sometimes. I think like, oh wow, I'll just be able to work 24 hours a day and get stuff done, and that'll just be how that goes. And the reality is far from that. There is time. I gotta go sleep. Got to take care of the baby, and I'm like, oh, I could just move furniture in the office at the same time as watching Olivia, because like I'll put her down for a nap and then I'll just go move the desks around and stuff. That didn't happen. I'll be brutally honest with you guys and say that didn't happen, but it will happen at some point in time. As I mentioned on the Friday show, we have wrapped up the big giant portion of that big. I guess I was calling it super secret because I didn't want to expose somebody else's big project, but I think Corey has, he's exposed it enough to the point where people know, hey, they moved the shipping warehouse, and that was one of the big things that was eating up a lot of my time, and now I'll kind of be back on the regular schedule here for a little while, so that'll be pretty good, and we'll be getting more videos out to you guys and stuff. I got kind of a short experimental video coming out tomorrow, so I guess just pop on there and let me know what you think. Maybe if you're like, and to be brutally honest with you, I would like to know if you're like, I don't know, 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, or what, even if you're like, this just was bleh, let me know. Let me know all about it. I would like to know. So, that's the deal. My foot fell asleep, so I don't know. I'm really like this new chair, but I feel like it kind of, I don't know, it makes like, I don't know. I'm just getting used to this new chair. I had that old chair, and I think maybe my butt got shaped to the old chair or something, and now the new chair makes me feel like I'm out of shape or something. I don't know, but I kind of am out of shape. Oh my gosh, we have a new member during the show, Caroline Epler. Well, thank you very much, Caroline. I appreciate it. Thank you for becoming a member. That's one of those things. People were asking, like, you know, if you wanted to help out the show, if you wanted to help out the production and things that are going on, like what am I kind of look forward to? What kind of stuff can you got going on? We have the Patreon page, which Candy just posted into the chat. Thank you very much, Candy. Super extraordinaire, moderator extraordinaire, along with our other moderator extraordinaires. I don't want to leave anybody out. You know, the rest of y'all are awesome too. When she just posted a link to it in the chat, you can go over to the Patreon, you can become a patronizer, or you can become a member here. Which one's more important? It's just more access to you guys if you want to support and be like, hey, I want to see more stuff in the future. I want to be able to see you, you know, do more shows, do more edited content, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. One of the big things that I kind of hinted to earlier is I was, who was I talking to? I was, if you guys know who Eric Martins is, he is an awesome shrimp breeder, importer. It's a shrimp aficionado, you know, and as you guys know, I am a huge shrimp aficionado myself. And so it's like kindred spirits, you know, and we get to, you know, and I've met Eric a few times, and we've met at, you know, like Aquatic Experience, a couple other things like that. And we're trying to go to, but we were trying to stop by his fish room. We were on a road trip last year, and the timing didn't work out and whatnot. So we didn't have a chance to go there and do that. But anyhow, I was talking with Eric, and I was like, hey man, what's the next, you know, big event that you're going to? Like maybe, you know, cause there's a big shrimp contest in Europe. And I forget when it is. But it's the exact same date that the big American shrimp contest is going on here in the U.S. So the overlap situation is a little bit awkward because it's like, well, why go to the Europe one if somebody's going to go to the U.S. one? The U.S. one is at Aquatic Experience, so they just happen to line up on the exact same weekends. And it was kind of like, well, I don't know, you know, we're just kind of discussing that a little bit. But he was like, the next one I'm going to is Vivarium. Now, I was like, Vivarium? Because it just like gave me like a twinkle of recognition. Like there was just a little bit there. And I was like, I feel like I should know what Vivarium is, but help me out here. I'm feeling extraordinarily dumb right now. And he was like, oh yeah, let me get the link for you. So he sent me the link, and then you know, we were basically like, I was like, oh wait a minute, look at that. And I was looking at the dates, right? I was looking at the dates, and I was like, okay, well, let me go look and see what I can see about flights, you know, because that's the first thing you got to think about. You got to think about, if you're going to fly somewhere, you should go look at the flights, right? Like, are they available? Is it possible? Is there, how much does it cost, you know? And the funny thing is that I went to go look up some of the flights, and they were only like, what's the word? What's the word? I'm like, what do I mean? What's the word? They were only like $500 to get out there. And I was like, how is this possible? So I double checked, went through, like looked again, and I was like, I don't understand what's going on. Like maybe it's the time of year, like maybe people don't fly that time of year, whatnot. I'm sure a lot of people out there that travel a lot know you can't book for Friday and then like Sunday night. It just, that's not going to work. Because if I went with the flights on like Friday and Sunday, which is insane because you don't want to try to fly international on Sunday, that is a crazy bad idea. Like, don't ever try that. You guys, don't do that. it's not a good idea. But so I set the dates because I was like, well, it's a 12-hour flight, so that whole day's shot, this whole day's shot, and I was like, okay, well, let me think. If I fly out on a Thursday morning, probably get there whatever next day. But it gets weird because you're not only are you flying, but you're flying through time zones. So it's like maybe if you leave here at 9 a.m., you get there the next day or something. I forget which. It goes one way, it goes the other way. Like I think you gain a day when you fly back. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You guys will figure. You guys know what I'm talking about. But anyhow, so I'm looking at that, and then I'm like, so let me set the dates here, and then there's all the competing airlines, which of course I'm like, I want to go with the better airline, and no, I don't want to stop anywhere. Which surprisingly enough, the nonstop flight was cheaper than a layover. Like, I'm like, I don't understand how this stuff gets put together, but I think it was Icelandic Air. I'm not sure. And I've flown on Icelandic Air before, and I was very happy with those accommodations. I was like, that's fine. It was like $500. And then I think it was an extra $100 to bring a bag. But, I'm bringing a bag. So I'm thinking about booking that. I'm like, right now, I don't know. Because, I could just throw it on the credit card and then figure it out later, and that would all be fine. But right now I'm trying to figure out accommodations. If you guys know, there's like Danny, who's in the Netherlands, which I forgot. I thought he was in Canada. I thought he was in like Ontario or something, Canada. But he is in the Netherlands. Johan, who regularly posts on the show here, is in the Netherlands, along with a couple other people that regularly post. So I've sent out some messages to those guys. I didn't send anything out to Danny, because I don't have his email or any way to contact him anyhow. So, but there's a really great aquascaping convention there, and it's the November 2nd and 3rd or something like that, I think. 2nd and 3rd. And totally interested in going to that because that sounds really cool, and I already know there's a bunch of fish rooms and stuff there that I'd be able to film. And then, of course, I went to go look up how many like YouTube videos there were and stuff like that, how much content there was that was covering vivarium. And it looks like not a lot. Like, there wasn't that many videos up. There were some from 2018, like one from 2017, and then not much. A bunch of pictures, a lot of pictures, but not a lot of people like doing video and stuff. So, really thinking that might be a worthwhile trip. And as you guys know, I find the opportunity to, engage with the European fish keeping, plant keeping, shrimp keeping community, I find that to be a big opportunity because, and this is my personal opinion, and so don't beat me up about it because everybody's going to start waving around American flags and acting all crazy, but the European community is at least 10 years ahead of us in a lot, maybe even just experience. Maybe they've just been doing it 10 years longer, 20 years longer, something like that, but they're ahead of us. And I think it has to do with, a lot of European people going back and forth to Asia because, if you look at aquascapes from, 30 years ago in, certain Asian countries and stuff like that, they look like a lot of the kind of good stuff that's out there 10 years ago here. So, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, we're catching up. We really are, the American community and stuff like that. We're definitely upping our game and catching up. But I also think at the same time, there's, like, a whole bunch of, like, really good opportunity to, meet with some of the Europeans that have a ton more, I guess, experience, whatever, like, stuff to share and things like that. And the quality of things that there is kind of crazy. So I might be able to bring something back. I'm not sure 100% how any of that stuff goes. That's one of those things. Big D Smoke says he would have to fly business or first class on a flight that long, though. Oh, yeah, I know. Big D Smoke, I don't want to, like, spoiler alert or anything, but he has he's had some back surgeries and stuff like that. So I fully understand that. I didn't even look how much the first class tickets are. I have looked in the past, and stuff that's like, let's say something is like $800, it's like $4,000. So You know, it's always like this real big jump to get up there. So I will most likely just deal with the pain and be in the old economy if I do go. So, but I've done that flight a bunch of times now. So, and it's not that bad if you are like mentally ready for it. I don't think I could do it at night. I don't think I could do the nighttime. I don't think I could do the red eye. Like, I can do a standard red eye in America. Like, that's not a big issue because it's like 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours. It's not that big of a deal, but I don't think I could do it like already tired and jump on the red eye. I think I don't know, man. I don't think I could land and just even have my bearings about me or anything like that. So, but not that bad, you know. And to me, it's not that bad going out to Europe. I think it was coming back is what really got me, because you start to adapt to that time, but you're like sort of spaced out after a couple of days. You know, you're like you're just sort of just you know, in this weird zone, and then you get back home really quickly, realistically, and it's like, oh, now I'm back here, and then you're just like, and you gotta just kind of chill out for a while. It's just weird. Let's see. KG Cichlids, always with the funny comments, has got, have you ever thought of doing your live streams with a tank behind you? I have done, I think I did some in the past. First of all, it's really difficult to shoot. You know, I do have plans. I'm putting a green screen in. Let's see. For you guys, it's it's that way. I don't know. It wouldn't matter which way I pointed. There is a green screen going in over there. So eventually I could probably, you know, keyframe what's the word I'm looking for? I could just remove the background. I can't remember the name of that right now, but there's a name for it, and it escapes my mind. But I could do that and just do green screen. But I don't know. I think it's kind of weird, and I have a whole huge background that's going to be. I'm going to be changing the background on a regular basis because I'm setting everything up down here so that I can change positions and stuff, and I have to move some of the furniture because I put it in a spot that didn't work as well on paper as I thought it was going to. So I'm actually going to reposition it in a different way, which I would have previously, but obviously trying to keep up with production and stuff like that, I end up having to put stuff and make it wait, you know. But yeah, so that's what's going on in my neck of the woods. We had that weekend, we had that stuff, the Netherlands with the vivarium thing. I'm very excited about possibly doing that. I don't know if I'm going to. You know, I don't want to be that guy that's like, yeah, I'm gonna go. But just so you guys know, it is it's on my mind. It's something that I can hopefully go out and cover, and also tour a bunch of fish rooms while I'm there, because I do know I have been in contact with a few people already in the Netherlands that are like, yeah, come over and film my fish room. So I really, man, I've really been like working on my interview filming game. Because that's something I want to do more of. We never really reached that point, you know, with Patreon funding and that kind of stuff. You know, this channel, you know, and not to sound like woe is me or anything, I'm super happy with my community. I'm super happy with all the stuff that's going on here. So understand that first and foremost, you guys. But we never really reached that point where it was like, screw it, I'm going to buy 4 cameras and we're going to film like crazy and blah, 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 you know. So, you know, we're just baby stepping our way into being able to do that. We do still have the plan to do the makerspace, which, you know, if you guys are if you happen to be on the Discord, and how do you get on the Discord? If you don't know what a Discord is, it's basically a live chat 24 hours a day. The people can get on there. You can talk about topics. You can go into different channels and stuff and post pictures of your thing or whatever, and basically have a text-based conversation that's just always active. And you can get into the Discord by becoming a member. You can find that on the member on the community tab that's under members only, or you go onto the Patreon, you become a Patreon, and you can gain access that way. And yeah, so you'll be able to get on there. But that's, you know, some of the stuff we've been talking about, like the availability of the makerspace, like what could we do for that kind of stuff, and you know, kind of been spitballing some ideas and kind of thinking about what's going on. We never really got to that point where it was like, okay, I can pull the trigger on this without going completely backwards money wise. So you know, we're just kind of keeping doing those baby steps. But I'll be very excited to be able to get out to the Netherlands and kind of, you know, test it via a flight. You know, because I've tested it a little bit via Drive, and I've got those. I've got some of those videos in the can. I'm still working on production. Like, I want to get them right. And to be honest with you, like, some of the music I put in there was terrible. Some of the cuts that I did were awful. And I'm kind of just, I don't want to be in that position where I'm just putting stuff out just to put stuff out. You know, I know that is sort of the attitude of YouTube. But I've sort of just resigned myself to the fact that, like, look, the channel is just in a slump, and I'm just kind of going back to, you know, just working on that production and stuff. And I'm kind of excited to be able to try that out and give it a shot via the, you know, via the, what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't know. I lost my train of thought. A whole bunch of people probably just logged out because I lost my train of thought. But you guys get what I'm saying. I was trying to read the chat and talk at the same time, and it gets a little bit weird. Laura Morgan says, green plants plus green screen, would that work? Yeah, because I actually use a blue screen. So, yes, it does work. But a green screen could be an issue, possibly. But what it would be doing is it eliminates the green from this video, and then the video of the fish tank is a separate video, so it wouldn't keyframe from that one. You'd keyframe from this video. Does that make sense? Because that other video would be playing just a video playing, right? So it should hypothetically work, but I use a blue screen anyhow, and it gets confusing to people because they're like, I thought green screens were green. And you're like, yeah, but they're also blue and other colors and stuff like that too. So, but I have a blue screen that I use just because it tends to work. It just tends to work a little bit better for me, you know, and my editing software and all that kind of stuff. It just seems to work out a little bit better. Big D Smoke says, I like Discord, especially being someone who's home and bored most of the time. Yeah, I think I really like the Discord because it's a great thing that, you know, if like, let's say that I have a minute, right? I can open up Discord and be like, oh, I'm just waiting for the train. Well, we'll see what's going on, you know, or whatever. And actually chat with you guys. You know, I think Facebook's cool and all, but, you know, I feel like, you know, Facebook's like town square. You know, there's just too many things to be addressing on a regular basis, and I feel like the Discord is the spot where it's super easy because we have all the tabs made, and I'm probably gonna make a couple of more because I have some thoughts that I got going on. But the tabs on there, it's like if you're in the general chat or if you have a tank project or a fish issue or this. We have a politics area. We have memes just to laugh at memes and that kind of stuff. You know, like, so all those little areas, like maybe you don't want to talk about politics or whatever, like totally cool. Then you just don't go into that part. If you're in the general chat, you talk about general things that are going on. Ricardo DeLeon is here. What's up? It says, sorry, I'm a little behind, but do you still do the real fish talk with the co-op? No, we don't do the real fish talk anymore. I think we stopped doing it right around the beginning of the year, maybe before that. But we did 50 episodes. You know, we did 50 episodes as a test to see how well that would work out. I'd love doing it. We would love to still be doing it. It just honestly became too much of a time consumption versus basically, you know, if you think about it this way, it's Corey and I. And at the time was Jimmy. Jimmy has moved away. He's off in Ohio, or I'm not sure where he went. But it was the three of us occupying a day during the week, and there's really no way for us to do it on the weekends because we're almost always traveling or doing something on the weekend. And so it would take a whole work day. It would essentially take up a whole work day for me, Corey, and Jimmy. So that's three people that could be doing a lot of stuff, getting a lot of things done, making a bunch of videos and stuff like that. And we unfortunately had to make the business decision because Corey is a business owner, and he was also paying Jimmy because Jimmy was on payroll. So it's like he's not only the boss of that situation, but it's also taking him away from his business. So we had to make the straight up business decision. We went through all the analytics and all that kind of stuff, and it just was not growing. And it wasn't growing, and it certainly was not making enough money for us to go, yeah, let's just keep doing it. So it's an unfortunate business decision that we had to make, but that's the reality of the world. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I have the Patreon, and we got the Patreon going is so we could just keep doing the shows, doing the episodes, afford, babysitter and that kind of stuff, while, being able to do shows and produce videos and stuff like that. So that's why I'm deeply indebted and deeply grateful for people that become members and super chat and come onto the Patreon and help out with like $1 a month and all that kind of stuff. It's really big time. So Jim Smith says I disabled Discord notifications from 8 to 5 or something like that. That's probably a good idea, Jim. If you're getting those notifications during work and you're like, oh, I got to see what's going on. You can. That's one of the cool things about Discord is that you can set times where you're like, hey, don't bug me right now. This is when I'm doing this. Ginger Graves is sneaking the stream at work. All right, I won't tell anybody. I don't know where you work, so I wouldn't really be able to tell anybody anyhow. Matt Thomas says, I really appreciate all you do for the community. Your videos are helpful. Spent hours watching your videos. Keep up the great work. Love your tanks. Oh, thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. I've said this before. I'm going to keep making videos and just keep going where I'm going. And hopefully we're building a community, and our community is growing bigger. Like, is it one person at a time? One person at a time? Like, hey, that kind of stuff's cool with me, man. Like, I think the reality is, like, I don't know how big your community or your britches got to be by the time you think that you're successful, but I have mentioned this before. I got sober over 5 years ago. 5.25 years ago. Let's not talk about 5.5 years. We're not to 5.5 yet. We're at 1,910 days, which is awesome. And my goal was when I got sober, I basically started a daily log onto Facebook because at the time it just was a thing, and I put myself out there as I put myself out there into the community, and I think realistically later on I've thought about it. And, the reason I think my motivation behind that was to maintain a level of accountability, right? Like that if everyone in your circle of friends, family, whatever, and maybe one of these days I'll grab that original post from day one, but day one, I just put this just big, like, here's what's going on. I'm an alcoholic. My life's out of control. Blah, blah, blah. This whole thing's a mess, and I got to do something about it, basically. That's a real paraphrase. That's phrased it down. I think the full copy of it is on my website, which I tell you guys, I don't even know if I've done anything on my website in a long time. I should probably get on that, but I'm spinning way too many plates right now, as is. But the thing is that, like, it's community accountability, really, when you get down to it, was like everybody knew what was going on. It's not a secret. It's not like some kind of let's all just be secret about stuff. And my goal was, initially I said, if I help one person with this, I feel that I felt like that was enough. And realistically, I felt like if I only helped one person, that wouldn't be enough. And then so I was like, if I could help 10 people, out, that would be a really big deal. If I could help change like 10 people's lives, that would be a really big deal. So I kept doing it. I did it every single day for a year. No matter what was going on, I made sure to post a thing up there, kind of my thought of the day and that thing was going on and blah, blah, blah. And, the thing is, like, I hit that 10-person mark and I was like, screw it. I'm just going to keep going. At the time, I think about 8 months into being sober, I was going to probably just quit doing YouTube. Like, I'd been doing it for a really long time. I never got to a point where, with the air quotes, like, am I being super successful? That kind of deal. It's hard to feel like, how much work you put into something if it's worthwhile to keep going, and at the time I was like, look, I'm going to do other things. I'm going to do other things with my life and do some other stuff. And, the thing is that I had to take a step back and go, all right, I had to evaluate my relationship, which my relationship with Victoria is very important to me. I mean, it's paramount. I love her to death. She's the light of my life. All that anecdotal stuff. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. But I had to take a step back whether or not I wanted to either pursue my own things or if I wanted to stay and pursue this thing with Vicky, and if I was going to do that, what would that look like, and what was the plan, and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And I was going to leave and basically go hike for 6 months. If I was going to go hike for 6 months, I was going to go do the Pacific Crest Trail. If you guys know about the Pacific Crest Trail, it's like 2,400 miles long. And it's a very established trail. It's been around a long time, and I've done portions of it. I've done big portions of it. I've never done the whole thing, and it is a goal in my life to have done the whole thing. And the reality is that I will do the whole thing. I will do the whole thing someday, but I'm probably not going to do it all in one shot. I think, if Vicky and I can do 100-mile portions of it or 50-mile portions of it or 20-mile portions of it, whatever, eventually we'll have covered the whole thing. And, sometimes you start out with an idea that, like, this is what I'm going to do and this is the only thing that I will accept. And then, you gain more knowledge. You kind of learn something about yourself and maybe the things that are around you, and you want to just keep going, And I don't even know how I was supposed to wrap this in with my original thought. I don't know. But, I don't know what my original thought was. I completely lost it. I don't know. I should take notes. Or something. But we're like 40 minutes in. I wonder how many fish people have been, like, waiting for the video. Let's go over to the video while I lament about some nonsense and talk about the current state. Oh, of course the video, which we had to start late because we were waiting on the video, and of course the video doesn't start at the beginning like it's supposed to. Let's make me wicked. Should I get wicked small? I don't know. I don't think I can even highlight. I'm gonna shrink me down. There we go. And then I can zoom in so you all can still see my face. There we go. Oh gosh. It's the worst. Sorry. I don't mean to have to show you guys my face, but it's life. But anyhow, this is one of the portions of the 150-gallon freshwater tank I have. The main inhabitant in here is the Shoutadeni puffer, the Shoutadeni. I don't know how I'm supposed to say it correctly, but that's the main inhabitant in here now. I got one. I started with 3. I accidentally killed one, and one disappeared. And yeah, it's lame. It sucks. It's my bad. But I talked with Preston, and we'll we'll probably get some more puffers here at some point in time. So it'll work out. The one puffer is just slaying it though. Somewhere in here, and you'll probably see him in the video. We also got cherry shrimps. We had a lot of snails and stuff, but that being the little puffer monster in there, he's definitely eating all of them. So she, might be she, I'm not sure. But you know, we do have a lot going on in there that is positive in this tank, because as you guys know, my main focus, I love fish, and there are a lot of fish that I do know a fair bit about, right? I wouldn't say I'm the most I don't have the most expertise. I just have a lot of experience, a lot of research. I don't have any degrees or anything like that. So I have to kind of hillbilly my way through everything, and you know, figuring out testing properly and what levels where things should be and what kind of substrates and da 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 da. And I haven't spent the extensive amount of time on that as far as fish goes. Agriculture is one of my main interests. You know, it's something it's always been there. It's something I've always studied. So I'm always kind of interested in, you know, what's this plant doing? How does this plant propagate? What does it require? What area of the world is it coming from? What's the temperature? What's the this? What's the that? What's the pH? Is this a little bit different? Is it edible? Right? You know, at some point in time, I probably will. We will obviously someday. Well, maybe we won't someday. I don't know. Maybe we'll just be on this property that we're on right now forever. But I was posting in the Discord earlier today that we are looking around at the possibilities of some. We are looking at the possibilities of some other property at some point in time. I don't know when that's going to happen, but. The market here is just elevating at a crazy rate. We knew that was going to happen. I mean, sorry. I don't have a crystal ball. Hold on. I actually do have a crystal ball. I have a crystal ball, but that doesn't mean that it actually works. We assumed from the information around us that it would have been a very good decision to buy the house that we're at. The market has gone up basically as fast as it could optimistically. If you were an optimistic person and you wanted the market to go up, that is what happened. So we are looking into the possibility of, you know, turning over this property in order to get more land. That's kind of our big thing, and it's something that Vicky and I really want to do. You know, that's something that we really want to do, and that's kind of what our future looks like, is probably owning and operating a small farm, probably owning and operating a small company that does outdoorsy stuff, I guess. Hopefully that explains a little bit. I would like to be able to take people out camping and hunting and rafting and stuff like that. That's what I would... That's a big part of what Vicky would like to do with her life, and I would like to be involved with that. And considering that's mostly seasonal work, you know, like you can't take people out hunting for deer in March. It's no good. You got to be out there during the rut, and which only lasts like a month, 3 weeks best. And so, you know, that's kind of one of the things that we want to do. And how are we going to do that? We're going to have to acquire some land and slowly build our way into it, and just keep going. Justin Woody says, was it just at a wedding at an organic farm in Monroe? It's Monroe, but I say Monroe because it makes me laugh when people from out of town say Monroe. But yeah, out there in Monroe, they got a lot of good land out there and stuff. I've spent, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, kind of joking, I've spent too much time in Monroe, and I don't think I would be happy or comfortable there. For strange reasons that don't really need to exist on the internet, if that makes sense. But yes, there's definitely beautiful country out there. I've definitely been, if if anybody's wondering, Highway 2 goes up and over the mountains. It's a tiny 2-lane highway, and I've driven up that probably 1,000 times. When I was a kid, we had family, or we didn't have family. We had property out in eastern Washington, and I spent a ton of time out in eastern Washington, and I think the reality is that somebody had come on here a while ago and mentioned that like Wenatchee, Washington might be an option, and I'm gonna be honest with you right now. No, Wenatchee is on my list, mainly because they have the cheapest electricity. Farming out there is awesome. There's just a whole bunch of stuff going on that it might be an option. I don't know, but who knows? Because Vicky has a big time job here, so I can move, but we don't know if Vicky will be able to move or not. The people want to know what that plant is. Well, let me grab the arrow. So this plant right here is Rotala. And I just put it in the chat. Rotala atra. Hurrah! I think it's pronounced atra, but I like to say hurrah because it makes me laugh. But if you look that up, you'll be able to find it. I actually did a highlight video on this a little while ago, not that long ago, and I don't know where the link is to that video because I don't have the link to that video, but I did a specific video for this plant right here. And so that'll give you kind of the breakdown of what's going on with, how to kind of set up for this plant and stuff like that. So that plant right there is that Rotala atra, and it is marvelous. I love dealing with it. It is a really cool plant. Just continues to grow in. A lot of it does the reaching up and just really occupying space. It has this beautiful orange coloring to it. It doesn't necessarily, if you really kind of hammer on it, it will get red. But, I'm going for the orange. That's what I want out of this. I have red plants in here. I acquired the atra from Kevin, who is from the Willamette Valley Aquarium Society, which, man, I want to go back down there at some point in time. I certainly do. I can't wait to make another trip down to Oregon. Hopefully Vicky and I can go down and do that at some point in time. Try to figure out when that could happen. I don't know. Some point in time, but I love this plant. It does some climbing, kind of. It does both. It not only does it reach up for the heavens and do all that really kind of cool stuff, and it does a lot of cool purling and everything, which is fantastic. It's great. It also like sends these runners out down and kind of creeps and crawls and kind of grabs onto rocks and stuff like that. And I just have a great time with this plant, and it's not that difficult to grow. It really isn't. If you have a stable planted tank that you're growing plants in. Even if you had one of those awful dirted tanks, which, come on now, I still think everybody should do a dirted tank just so you know what disaster looks like eventually. I love you guys. I think everyone should do a dirted tank. I did a ton of them in the past. I understand it. But to me, it's really one of those like, it's kind of neat, but it just gets out of hand. You know what I mean? So we'll just leave it at that. I'm just giving people a hard time. If you like doing dirted tanks, keep doing them. If that's your thing, keep doing your thing. Don't, just because some dingleberry, a.k.a. me, told you that that's not a great idea, doesn't mean don't do it. It's very minimal cost, so give it a shot. Just don't kill any of your fish. Come on now. Be careful. Careful, don't kill your fish. Let's see. Shelby Ray Lane says your house is like a big savings account that will pay a gazillion times better than a bank savings account. Yeah, if you can extract something from it, then yes, that's good. But if you're not, then it's just, it's still good. I'm not mad. I think what we might end up doing if we were to get out of this house, we might just end up doing it as a rental. Just because the market is so high here that it would probably just cover the mortgage payment, which I'm fine with. We just pay the property taxes, which is not great, but I don't know. I think it would probably be fine. We'll probably just end up doing it as a rental, but we're meeting with the guy that did our mortgage is actually a friend of ours. He's like a big time like money investor dude, whatever. A really awesome, cool guy. We're going on a hike and camping trip with them. And my guarantee is that we'll have time to kind of talk about whether or not that's feasible or what we should do. Because I'm not the kind of person to just constantly be like, I know the answer to everything. I really try to defer to experts where expertise is needed. And financial stuff, just get an expert, because you lose your mind trying to figure out what's going on. JH Aquatics is here. What's up, my guy? Says you have to do at least one dirted tank, but I did that and I'm over dirted tanks. That makes sense. I saw a good question here that I missed, and I was going to answer it. Let me scroll back. Kira Doom 12. Kira Doom 12 with the Pikachu with the hat on backwards avatar. All right, I appreciate it. I love that. You got to have a good little avatar on there. You know what I mean? You just take that 5 minutes and find a little picture to put on there. Just makes everybody's day a little bit better, and I appreciate that. Was asking, should I wait to order plants right now because my state is having 100+ degree heat? Honestly, I think if you're ordering from a reputable company like Aquarium Co-op, you should be okay. Chances are they're probably going to make it. Considering how fast the USPS is, as long as it's not left like on a porch in the sun or in like a mailbox where it's like super hot, I think you're going to be okay. They're pretty quick with stuff. It's not, it's not necessarily recommended, but, like Justin up at Aquarium Co-op, he's one of the experts there with the packing and the shipping and all that stuff. He's one of the managers there. He'll know. They'll look it up and be like, oh, it's 90, because right now it's 95 degrees here. It's 95 degrees here in Western Washington. They would know, wait a minute, it's 115 there, it's 95 here, maybe we got to wait a couple days, and they would communicate that with you. Or they would just go, we're going to send it out and see what happens. I'm not sure how it really works out, but, one of the reasons that I am associated with Aquarium Co-op, they are an affiliate sponsor, so if you do order through our affiliate link here, because they are an affiliate sponsor, so we don't get paid unless people buy stuff. That's kind of how that works. If you buy stuff through, takes you the link will take you to the website, and then it's just normal website stuff. It just, all it does is says that we sent you. But one of the reasons that I do have anything to do with the Aquarium Co-op, not just because they're my friends, which they are, but it's because their customer service is number one, for sure. Hands down. Good luck trying to find better customer service. You're probably not going to find it. And if you do find better customer service, go ahead and holla at your boy. I would like to know. Because if somebody's at a higher level of the customer service than that, I want to know, because I would be shocked, impressed, and I would fall down on the ground and probably be verklempt for like upwards of 20 minutes, I would guess. I don't have time for 20 minutes of verklempt. Maybe 10 minutes, okay? We'll compromise in the minute. I've got a lot of things to do. I can't just be hanging out on the floor. But the quality of the stuff that they bring in, the quality of the thing, the care, the customer service, all that stuff is top notch. And I don't have any association with, other companies if they don't have that top notch stuff. Like I just don't. I don't have time for it. I don't have time to work with other companies that I have to like tell them how to do their job. You know what I mean? So that's why, I've gotten offers from what I would consider to be kind of crappy companies. And I just like, nah, I don't want to have anything to do with that. So, but that's why I work with Aquarium Co-op, man. They test all their stuff. They back all their stuff with it, you know, to make sure that it's going to get there, that it's going to, you know, they take the care to make sure it's ahead of time. Their shipping is super fast. I don't know if you guys have ever ordered from them, but like your box is in the mail. It's like Amazon fast. I don't understand how they do it. I don't have anything to do with that stuff, but man, it's crazy fast. People have literally sent me emails to tell me how fast the shipping is from there, and I'm like, you know that I don't actually do any of the shipping or anything like that. I mean, I help with the water systems and building stuff and, you know, testing the automated dosing and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I do that stuff. I fix plumbing and things like that when stuff gets broken. Like, that's my thing. And I do stuff like build Kobe's pond. Yeah, big old pond in his front yard. He's got those big awesome fish and putting out cool videos about that. I built his pond instead of building my pond. But I love the guy, so it's going to be all right, you know? It's going to be fine. His pond, it's better that he has a big old pond because I'm, like, hardly here enough to take care of a big old pond. But I will say this. If I ever get the time to get the rest of the forms in, my pond is going to be pretty darn fun. I'm going to have to do a 2,005 gallon, right? Is that how that goes? I don't know. I think when I measured it, I think it's going to be 5,800 gallons, I think, is what it's going to be. But I don't know. I'll do a final measurement and then let you guys know if that ever happens. But there will be a ton of videos leading up to that. But I'm very excited to hopefully get a pond going here and start dumping water in it. But I have to do the rest of the forms. And by the way, yes, I am going to get it poured concrete. That's how I'm going to do it. And I know there are downsides to poured concrete, but I have a ton of other stuff here where I have the forms already cut out to pour a bunch of concrete for pathways and stuff like that. So I might as well get all of the forms built, right? And then, guess what? Have all the concrete poured, right? I might as well do it all at the same time. Come on now. We want to get that efficiency. And I'm super lucky where I'm at right here because when I looked it up, I called the local cement company, the guys that I don't even know if they make the cement or whatever. I don't really care if they make the cement or not. Just as long as they bring the right aggregates, fine. But I was going to do a little bit of a fiber mix in it. If anybody knows anything about concrete, it's probably driving people insane. But I was going to do a little bit of fiberglass in it to help it avoid cracking in the sometimes freezing but the constant water swelling that goes on around here. And we're going to end up doing that. And then I was like, well, how much is this going to cost? It's always crazy with those guys. It's like $500 a truck. And he was like, well, where are you at? I'm like, I'm right over here. And he's like, oh, it's only $280 a truckload. And I was like, what? And he's like, we're only 2 miles away. I was like, oh my God. I can get 2 truckloads for the same price as it normally is. Oh my God. So I was pretty excited. And yeah, it's going to work. You know, it's going to be a labor of love. And at some point in time, there will be some really boring time-lapse videos of me like digging holes and hitting things with hammers and stuff. But hopefully I'll make them more interesting this time than the last videos I made of me building stuff. But it seems like the time-lapse thing is the best thing that I can do at this point because I get so grimy and dirty when I'm working that I have to end up just like setting the camera up somewhere and then like throwing on a time-lapse. And it's kind of as good as it gets. I don't get any close-up shots or any fancy stuff like that. So I don't know. Yeah, Big D Smoke says, yeah, being local most of the time I place an order and get it the next day. You can't beat that. Shelby Ray Lane says that's how it works for me. 2 days to North Carolina. Amazing. Yeah. Warren Williams says, what are the downsides to poured concrete ponds? So the downsides to poured concrete ponds are the finishes. So it's very difficult to finish a concrete pond. But nowadays, we actually have some really good materials out there. It's just kind of costly and a little bit dangerous for the people actually doing the liner itself. You can do a drop-in liner if you like. But I'm going to end up doing a spray-in liner. It's basically if you were to It's like the industrial version of the Plasti Dip, but it's much more toxic to breathe it in. So you have to spray it outside, which is not a problem in a pond. It's not a big deal. But you have to wear a full-on respirator, all that stuff, to make sure you do not breathe that stuff in while it's being sprayed. Now, you could go plain concrete, which is fine. But as we found in a lot of the Florida ponds and stuff like that, is that it will leach a lot of stuff into your water eventually. It might not do it in the first 6 months. It might not do it in the first 9 months. But once you kind of get past a year and there's been enough light and, from the sun hitting it and water constantly being on it and stuff like that, it will chip, crack, and leach stuff into the water. So it's something you could get away with for a certain amount of time, but you do have to seal it one way or another. And nowadays there actually is there are some products out there that do make that fairly easy. I'm going to look into whether or not like Plasti Dip is something that can be utilized or not. It might be. I've never tried it on like a concrete pond, so I'm going to try and find somebody that actually has done that. Because realistically, if you're talking about buying a couple of the gallon buckets of Plasti Dip and then just rolling it on there and just doing a thick coat, that might actually be really cool. But there might be some prep that needs to go into it. I need to find somebody that's actually done it and can tell me whether or not as it swells and shrinks and all that kind of stuff, whether or not it can actually hold up or if there's some kind of prep that goes into it. But, Big D Smoke says I poured a lot of concrete in my early days before I started hottying. I'm not sure what hottying means, but Creedmoor Aquatics is pond armor for concrete ponds. There is a type of that. It's a spray that's a two-part. It's a two-part. It has fiberglass and something else in it, but it is like super toxic to be around it. I do know that because we sprayed it into a bunch of liners. So we made these wood lined deals and then we sprayed that in, but it is like super toxic to be around it. So you do have to take some care with that kind of stuff. And even if you are outside, you can't be like direct in the fumes of that stuff. Like it's just bad news. And to those of you out there that know, I have had a collapsed lung, a pneumothorax before, and I'll tell you this much: you don't want to be breathing that garbage in and ending up with a collapsed lung because it is not fun. You end up with a pneumothorax. I tell you this much: you're probably going to be in the hospital for a little while. And I tell you this much: if you're like me and you go into the hospital and you end up with MRSA, liver infection, kidney infection, pneumonia, and something else. What was it? Something else. I forget. I don't know. I just had this long list of garbage that happened to me while I was in the hospital. But I had all those things happen to me, and I'm going to tell you this much. You got a pneumothorax, you probably just remember to wear your respirator. It's probably a good idea in the future, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's like, oh yeah, I got this hole in my chest over here. I got a big old scar on my side from that. Laura Morgan says, someday I'll have the space and funds to start the pond setup I want to do on our sun porch. Yeah, you know what? It is. I mean, I was talking about it earlier a little bit, maybe a little too much. I don't know. Let's consider that that we're supposed to, what's the word? What's the word we're looking for here? We got to self-edit a little bit. Maybe I was talking about it a little too much, maybe too long. I'm a little long-winded. That's why it's a long show. But what's the word? What was I talking about? But yeah, it definitely is baby steps to doing that kind of stuff. And maybe I was sounding a little down on things and stuff like that. But it is baby steps. Getting nicer cameras and all that kind of stuff, and all those kinds of things. It's certainly just baby steps, and I appreciate that. There are some ways to kind of go a little bit cheaper. I do know that Corey posted a video the other day about some of those pond containers that he got in. They're like a pallet deal. I forget what those are called. There's a name for them, but they're pallet load out for something. I don't know. You like put stuff in them. They're like shipping warehouse containers. They work pretty well, and it's a pretty good stuff. You could do that. Maybe that's affordable because I think that was only like $100. And then I think you just build a wood frame around it, add some filtration, drill a bulkhead into it, add some filtration, couple bulkheads, build some decking around it or whatever. That's definitely something that you could do. I built some aquaponics systems out of the really big versions of those a long time ago. I'm a huge fan of people doing aquaponics on their deck. We don't actually have a deck here. Otherwise, I would probably have already done aquaponics into it, whether Vicky wanted me to or not. Although I think Vicky would probably be in favor of that being something that exists, right? I would imagine. Oh my gosh, we got new patronizers during the show. Oh my god. And I try not to oh man, we got a new Patreon during the show. Very excited. Where did it go? It's over here. It's in the other one. Okay, here we go. Oh, we have a brand new Patreon. Mr. Uwe Deloriac Peterson. I always have to read it ahead of time because I want to make sure that I don't accidentally give out somebody's name. Because you might want to have a different screen name. But I do know that Uwe Deloriac Peterson is his YouTube screen name. And then we also had a new Patreon during the weekend. Santa, thank you very much. I do not know how to pronounce your last name. It is intense with the umlauts and stuff. But Santa, Sanna, those are our two new patronizers, and thank you very much. It's just one of those things. That's like that kind of stuff. Like when people come to the Patreon, it makes it possible to actually even think about going to the Netherlands to go film a convention. The thing is, like, one of the reasons I want to go to big conventions overseas and stuff like that is like there's not that many people from YouTube and stuff like actually doing that. People. Somebody actually asked me today. Somebody sent me a message. They were like, "Are you going to Aquashella?" And I'm like, "I'm not planning on going to Aquashella." I mean, if you just straight up, if you look at it in terms of like, if you're somebody who likes fish tank content and stuff like that, and you go to Aquashella, there's going to be a whole bunch of YouTubers there that do fish tank content. And I don't know what I'm really bringing to the table other than being like, oh, hey, you met me in person. Like, okay. And it probably would only be like a 5-minute meetup, and then somebody else would come by. And then I've always noticed this with people, like they feel super awkward and kind of like fade away. They're like, I don't know why that is. It just seems like everybody kind of does that. So it probably would only be a couple of seconds, and then there's going to be like 100 of those videos like up on YouTube, right? Of like aquatic experience, of like Aquashella, of all that kind of stuff, Macna. There's going to be like 100 videos up, so you guys are all going to see that. So I do try to find stuff that I can go film that the online community would be able to check it out and at least get an idea of like, well, maybe I'd want to go to that next year. I went to Interzoo, which Interzoo is an awesome like convention to go to, but it is so huge and it's not open to the public. But Vivarium is actually open to the public. So, I mean, if you guys wanted to go to that, you could go. You could just fly there or drive there. Like, hopefully I'm driving there with Johan. Like, he knows how to get around because I don't speak Dutch. I'll probably be confused. I'm not sure which side of the road they drive on. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know. Maybe they drive on the other side of the road. Good. I don't know. We might have to find out, you guys. We might have to look that up. Netherlands. Let's see. Oop. My coffee is in the way of typing. Netherlands. Drive on left or right. Here we go. Is it easy to drive in Netherlands? That's the top one. There are many ways to travel in Holland, but by car is definitely among the best. This is like Oh, that's the cheesiest. The road signs are very clear, which makes driving a car in Holland very safe. Let's see. What do you need to drive in the Netherlands? A valid UK driving license. Okay. It probably doesn't work. U.S. driver's license valid? Driver's licenses issued in a EU member state, Liechtenstein, Norway, or Iceland are valid in the Netherlands. Driver's licenses issued in all other countries can be used for 185 days after making residence in the Netherlands, after which you will need to apply for a Dutch driver's license. Well, which side of the road do you drive? Why is this impossible? How Netherlands drive on left or right? Why can't you just tell us? In the Netherlands, we drive on the right side of the road, unlike, for example, the UK where they drive on. Oh, cool. I'm gonna have to admit, I was in Germany and I was like, oh man, you guys drive on the right hand side of the road. It's crazy. And of course, everybody in Germany was like, yeah. There's not that many places that actually drive on the left-hand side. I was like, really? I'm a dumb American. Thank you. But yeah, I was actually, and I got to drive in, I drove in Germany. I got to drive in Austria. And I think I drove in Hungary, and I think I may or may not have gotten Chris Lukup a speeding ticket. But it doesn't go to the person, it goes to the car, so it might have, I don't know. I didn't verify whether that actually happened or not. And apparently it's not that big of a deal over there. I guess if you're speeding, like the cameras just get you, and then you have to pay like €20 or something, which is like $30 American or something. I don't know. Ooh, Lexi has a good point. Just drive down the middle to be sure. That's good. Don't crash. Jackson K says, we would love to see you make it to the East Coast for a meetup one day, though. Well, that's always possible. It's always possible that somebody would, I might, like, Aquatic Experience is in New Jersey. So, we shall see, I would like to make the Aquatic Experience. It's a lot. It's more to fly to New Jersey than it is at that time of year. I don't know. Maybe it's just that time of year. Maybe it's Newark is a problem. I don't know. But it's like more to fly to New Jersey at that time of year than it is to drive or to fly to drive. Did I keep saying drive? Sorry. I don't know. I don't know how to backpedal and figure out if I just had been saying drive the whole time. I don't know. But it is more expensive to fly to New Jersey than it is to fly to the Netherlands a month later. I don't know why. I think when I looked up the tickets, it was like $900 or something crazy. $1,100, I think. It was like $1,100 to go to New Jersey, but it was like $550 to go to the Netherlands. So I don't know. Like somebody explained that to me. It makes no sense, but that's kind of the deal. And I feel like as far as the YouTube community goes, me flying to the Netherlands to film something that there isn't any content up, or there's very minimal content up, is way more valuable than to me go to a place like Aquatic Experience where we already know there's going to be 30 or 40 Aquatic Experience videos coming out. That'll all be probably better than mine. Maybe not all of them. Let's say if there was 40, mine would probably be like 37th. I'm just being realistic here. But, out of the vivarium videos, there might only be 5, and I might be 4. See what I'm saying? Might be a good deal. Kira Doom is asking, have you grown Mars Iliea? I can never say that right. Mars Iliea? I don't know. I always say Marsilia, and then people are like, you're saying that wrong. So, yeah, Marsilia Minutia? I don't know. I'm saying it wrong. Yes, many, many times. Yep. Pretty easy setup. Give it some pretty basic light. As you guys know, I could easily grow it in this tank right here. This tank that's right here. The substrate in it is some ADA. There's a little bit of ADA Amazonia. It's like 1 bag of that in there. There's like 3 bags of Fluval Stratum. Fluval Stratum is my favorite substrate. If anybody ever asks, I'm like, that's my favorite. But I'm mostly in favor of utilizing multiple of a commercial substrate to get exactly what you know you're going to get. That's the big thing. That's the big thing with a commercial substrate, is that there's critical analysis. You know what the ingredients are. You know that it's clean and that kind of stuff. You know, if you go with the dirted aquarium, you're not really sure what you're going to get. You know, there's a lot of company. Well, all right, it's not like there's anything wrong with the companies. It's just that if somebody is selling potting soil, they don't need to really tell you what the ingredients are. There's no reason for them to do it. There's no reason for them to do any of that critical analysis. You know, unless it's a very specific potting soil or whatever, which if they are doing the critical analysis on it, is probably going to cost as much as a bag of Fluval Stratum. And then you're like, well, what's the advantage here? I've got dirt and I need to go buy more sand and gravel and a bunch of other stuff to cap it. I'm going to have to deal with the problems with it forever. So I recommend Fluval Stratum. Yes, it does have a few downsides. It can crumble up if you're super aggro with it and, I don't know, digging around in there with a rake or something. I don't know. The stratum does have a little bit of a downside. You know, it will release some ammonia and stuff, but that's much easier to deal with on a brand new tank. I find it much easier to plant in than a lot of stuff. There's not a ton of downsides realistically. It will eventually stop buffering the water, you know, so it will stop lowering the pH. But if it's, you know, it will be lowering the pH for a while. It'll buffer the tank a little bit. You know, but I'm injecting CO2 into this tank, so the pH is going to be lowered anyhow. You know, so that really is, you know, that's kind of one of the, you know, so that's what's in there. The lights that I have on here is the Fluval 3.0. That is my favorite light. They did release a new app update, so you can do even more stuff, with that light, which is awesome. Oh, somebody's asked. Where did that go? I have a link. For. Oops, that's not it. I got the wrong link here. Fluval Stratums. I forget that sometimes the computer doesn't get my my hilarious jokes. But Fluorite Black is also a pretty decent substrate if you wanted to go with something like that. I did a video a while ago on volume comparison because people get really confused about they go, well, the Fluval Stratum's more expensive for, like, it's like the same size bag. It's like this one's 15 pounds, that one's 17 pounds, and it's much more expensive. So I'm going to save a lot of money if I buy the fluorite, you know. And the problem is that the fluorite is a much heavier substrate. It's a much more dense substrate, so it does weigh a lot more for less. So you actually are, you know, you are kind of getting this either the same deal or even kind of a worse deal, realistically. But I do appreciate the Fluorite Black, also quite a good substrate, depending on this kind of stuff that you want to do. Here's a link for the Fluval Stratum if you guys want to go check that out. Or if you're just going to go buy a bunch of stuff at Amazon, just follow that. Go through there. Go through that link, and it basically gives us credit. It doesn't change your price or anything like that. So, I mean, I have no idea where my storefront link went. It was around here somewhere, and now I can't seem to find it. Oh, there it is. Let me copy the URL here, and then there we go. This is better. That's the whole store. So if you guys go to the storefront, I have a bunch of products in there that I use on a regular basis, and if you want to buy them, you can, and if you don't have to. It doesn't matter. Do whatever you like. But if you follow that link and you decide to go over there and buy whatever nonsense you want to buy, whether you're into weird sex stuff, because that popped up the other day and I still think it's hilarious. I personally find it hilarious. I'm not necessarily a purchaser of said products, but I find it hilarious that Amazon has to credit me a percentage of the sale, right? Like, I think it's funny. It's totally hilarious. And I'm not looking down on it. I just think it's... I've walked myself so far into a corner now. It's funny. I don't know. Anyhow, but yeah, if you guys go buy stuff at Amazon, whatever it is, or if you buy a computer, or if you buy toothbrushes, like I'm using in the video right there, I, as a matter of fact, did find I found like a 20-pack. Oh, what the hell? I think I scratched this thing. The thing I shaved off earlier today, I think I just scratched it. Terrible. Yeah, I did find like a 20-pack of, it was either a 12-pack or a 20-pack of toothbrushes, and I was going to buy it, and then I forgot. And then it like went way up in price. So sometimes I troll around in there and find some good pricing on things, and that does help out. But yeah, it doesn't really matter what you buy as long as you go through the portal. It was my point, and doesn't really matter because I just spent 5 minutes being ridiculous. Marlon Brown says, hey, I'm in Jamaica. I just bought a Pawfly LED for a 60p size tank. Would 2 of these equate to highlight? I have no idea. I've never used a Pawfly LED. So I cannot give you a personal experience with that light. Although I am interested to possibly try one out at some point in time. So let's give this let's Google search. Pawfly LED light adjustable. Kind of interesting. $30. Okay. Does some modes. It's got brackets. Might be a decent light. I don't know. I have not tried this one out. I'm a little bit kind of skeptical though. And you know, maybe there's no reason for me to be skeptical, but I am a little bit skeptical at something that, you know, it looks like, oh, okay. This looks like a mass-produced kind of cheap Chinese LED. Yeah, because High Top sells the exact same one, but just with their name on it right next to it. Yeah, because it looks like the driver's the same, or maybe the switch is different with the High Top one. Yeah, because that one has a remote, which don't ever get a remote for your light. You will just lose it. So let's see here. Oh, this might actually be what we were looking for the other day, which is the Higer Aquarium fish tank light, white and blue LEDs, clip-on lamp. No, I don't think that's right. Although in the picture it's like, look at it growing amazing plants. I mean, if you don't have a light spectrum on here, that's not going to work. But yeah, as far as that light goes, I don't know. I've never tried one out. Most of those cheap kind of LED lights, you know, kind of get what you pay for. So who knows? Fish Keeper says, I used a Pawfly. He's got a video on it with a $2 super chat. Oh man. Shameless self-promotion. I dig it, especially when it comes in the form of a super chat. Thanks, bro. But yeah, I've never used that light, so I don't know how well it's going to perform or not. You know, it doesn't seem to have a controller. It doesn't seem to have any way to... I mean, maybe you can dim the light. I don't know. It's like people, you know, they're like poking it with their finger, but I don't know if that just is a switch. But if there was like a minimum thing that I need a light to do, it has to have a power on, a power off, and a dimming capability. That's like, and it has to save the dimming capability. That really is the deal with me. It's like that's the minimum of what it has to do. Obviously, it has to grow plants, and either has to grow plants or coral, and that's important. But I found that the Fluval 3.0 the reef version grows coral quite well. Although you might need to add a few extra of them. I've got 4 over my 60-gallon reef, and they work quite well. They control quite well, and I'm definitely happy with their performance. And they're much cheaper than like Radions, for example. But I'm interested. Steve Shrimpery and more. He posted up on the Discord the other day about how he is testing some plant growth and stuff with some Radions. So I'm excited to see how those go, because I ain't got that kind of dough to really be testing that out. And all of my emails to those guys have just fallen on deaf ears. So yeah, maybe someday I'll be able to test one out. But I sure as hell I'm not dishing out $800 or whatever they are for one of those. Fishkeeper says has a dimmer, and the high top has the same stuff, just with a remote. Okay, that gives us kind of what you need. But like I said, I don't have any experience with it. I haven't put a par meter under it, so I'm not sure whether I'd call a highlight or medium light or anything like that. So, I don't want to be like, well, yeah, it'll do this and do that. But if it works, honestly, and you're happy with it, run with it. Like that's my whole thing, man. I'm not somebody that's like, oh, that's wrong because that's not the way I do it. I mean, there's a million ways to grow plants, and if it's working well for you and it's within your budget and that kind of stuff, I'm all for it. The downside for me is there no warranty on it? Will it get wet and it break, and that kind of stuff? Like, I need stuff that's really reliable, and that's one of the big things for the Fluval 3.0. Not only does it have the app built in, so I can control it that way instead of having to use stupid timers that are a pain in the butt. It's reliable, it's waterproof, and it works. So that's kind of the thing for me. Some of them I got sponsored by Aquarium Co-op, and some of them I paid for out of pocket. So it's not like, oh, I just got them all for free and I'm trying to shill them on people. Like, I've literally paid for them with my own cash. But full disclosure, I didn't pay for all of them. I got to try them out ahead of time before I paid for more of them. So that may or may not be an advantage for me. Advantage me, right? So yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm winding down, and I kind of got to pee, like real bad. So I think we might be ending the Monday show here. As I mentioned before, we do have a little short video coming out tomorrow. Might just be a fun little kind of better version of this video right here, but from 2 weeks ago. And then I filmed like a better version of this that will be a short video related to that one. How does that work? So that one's from 2 weeks ago, and then I'll have another short one that's from like now, but not tomorrow, but like 2 days from now or something, right? Does that make sense? Probably not, but that's okay. We're going to do fine. We're going to do fine out here in the old woods, whatever these woods are that we're in. But, oh, man, we got another new Patreon during the show. Laura M. coming in. Laura M. coming in as a new Patreon. I don't know if anybody hit the like button. I can never figure out how to see if you guys even hit the like button during the show. Like, I have to find out after the fact. So hopefully you guys click the like button, share this out with every person you've ever met in your entire life. I used to say share it out with your grandma, but we just share it out with any person you've ever met. Share it out with any person you've never met. Share it out with 7 billion people. I think hopefully we should have 7 billion views on this. We talked about the weekend. We talked about the baby. We talked about diapers. We talked about the Netherlands. We talked about conventions. We talked about some fish. We talked about some plants. What should I name this video? You guys let me know in the chat. What should we name? What should I title this video? Should I title this video Farts and Stuff? Or should I title this video, yeah, we talked about some fish, but also we talked about some plants, but also we talked about some other stuff? Because there's a lot of people that like come and watch my show here, and they're like, you didn't talk about plants the whole entire time for every second of the well, how long did we broadcast today? Let me go look. 1 hour and 30 minutes, right? You'd be like, you didn't exclusively talk about fish or plants for the whole entire time of the exact same thing that I wanted to hear about. And you're like, okay, I don't know. It would be a super weird one-ended conversation if I was just here like, the Rotella atra is from Vietnam, southern Vietnam, for as a fact, it's just where it's from, It would be weird if I was doing that. And also it would be weird if I didn't mention the people that became patronizers during the show. And oh yeah, I gotta say, shout out to Caroline Epler for becoming a new member. You can click the join button wherever you're at. It really does. Whichever one of those really helps out. It's just a matter of like whichever one you like. I feel like Patreon for you guys is a better deal. But there's a bunch of people that don't want to go off to another website. I feel like Patreon is a big deal or a better deal for you guys because you get more access to stuff. You get more, and, you guys can equally get access to the Patreon. But as far as YouTube goes, if you guys become members, that's better for them. And we'll eventually, if we get up to enough members, we'll eventually get respect. I do have the inside track on a few things, and one of the things that we found out is that the more members you have, the more important it is, like, to YouTube, like internally, like as a company, for whatever reason. I don't know why. And there is a number that you can actually hit that will trigger them to actually basically start to respect your channel. We're at 79 now. We were at 81 before. Some people dropped off, which happens. And then, but that kind of stuff does happen from time to time. And, but I know that we're only at about 10% of where we need to be. So we're kind of short, but man, props to everybody for your wild support and just for being cool. And thanks, Candy, for moderating. And who else was a moderator today? Alyssa, thank you for moderating today. Looks like it was pretty much Alyssa and Candy all day today, keeping track and keeping the riffraff, doing a jiu-jitsu neck choke, a bare naked choke on the old riffraff coming in the door. And then we got 54 Punchy there. Thanks for moderating today. And those are the three moderators that I saw. So thanks to you and thanks to whoever else moderated, because I don't see them in there. Maybe they're super secret. Shelby Ray says kidney call ends the stream. That's pretty much how it goes. I mean, let's be honest. I can't go pee on a stream. I'm not, what's his name? Ari Shafir. I'm not Ari Shafir. So he does that because he's crazy. I don't know why. He's nuts. Let me find my button around here, and hopefully CJ Black didn't hide the button, because if you did, I probably won't be able to find it. And now the task manager is stuck open. Why does the task manager keep reopening? Oh, I think I closed Google.